We all use VPNs, right? We turn them on to protect our privacy online. But what if the very companies we're paying to trust are, well, the weakest link in the chain? Today, we're going to look at a totally new kind of VPN, one that says you shouldn't have to trust a company at all. Let's dive into DeVpn.
So think about it. You click that connect button and you assume your data is safe. But what are you really trusting? A company's promise? Some marketing slogan on their website? Or are you trusting the actual technology? That's the big question we're going to unpack today.
All right, here's the game plan. We'll start by looking at the big problem with the VPN you're probably using right now. Then, we'll introduce DVPN and its new architecture. We'll get into how its direct connections actually work, check out the whole user and provider ecosystem, and wrap up by thinking about what a future owned by the community could really mean. Okay, let's just jump right in. The main issue here, it's not about the encryption. That stuff is usually solid. It's about centralization. The whole VPN market, as it stands today, is basically built on a promise. And that promise, it's been broken over and over again. See, with a normal VPN, every bit of your traffic gets funneled through their corporate servers. That right there is a massive single point of failure. You know that no logs policy they all advertise? Well, it's just a promise, not a guarantee, and we've seen companies like PureVPN and IPVanish break that promise when the pressure's on. You got servers that can be seized, shady parent companies buying up brands, and a history of free VPNs just leaking user data. Bottom line, you, the user, have absolutely zero control and no way to actually verify their claims.
And this really hits the nail on the head. It all comes down to trust. You have to trust their word, their marketing, but we've seen multiple no-log VPNs get caught red-handed, logging user data. So what if we could just remove trust from the equation entirely?
And that's exactly where DPN comes in, with a completely different way of thinking. The goal here isn't to be a more trustworthy company. The goal is to build a system where trusting the company is totally unnecessary.
The idea is simple but powerful. Privacy should be guaranteed by the architecture, by the code itself, not by some policy document that can be changed or ignored.
Okay, so let's really break down the difference. With a traditional VPN, your data path goes from you, through the company's servers, and then out to the internet. But with DVPN, you connect directly to a provider node, a computer run by another person in the community. The whole trust model shifts from believing in a company's policy to trusting verifiable open-source architecture. And the infrastructure? It's not owned by some corporation. It's owned and operated by the community. This is so important because it means the company architecturally cannot log your data because they never even see it. So you might be asking, how does it work without a central server routing my traffic? Well, think of something called the control plane. It's like an air traffic controller for your data. It helps you find the right runway to land on, meaning the best provider node to connect to, but it never gets on the plane with you. It doesn't inspect your data, it doesn't relay your data, it has no idea what you're doing. It just makes that initial handshake happen and then gets out of the way.
So, that's the key concept, this direct connection. No middlemen, no one spying. Let's walk through exactly what happens, step by step, when you actually hit that connect button in the app.
It's actually a really clean 4-step flow. First, in the app, you request a connection. Simple enough. Second, the control plane acts like a matchmaker and finds the best provider node for you at that moment. Third, your device gets the provider's IP address and a special one-time use session key. And then, step 4, and this is the magic part, your device creates a secured tunnel directly to that provider's computer. The company is completely cut out of the loop. They never touch your data.
And you better believe that direct connection is locked down tight. It uses WireGuard, which is this super modern, really fast encryption protocol. Everything is end-to-end encryption, which means even the person running the node you're connected to can't snoop on your traffic. On top of that, the DVPN software itself is sandboxed, so it can't access any personal files on the provider's machine. It's just a network relay, nothing more. Oh, and the whole system has been through a professional security audit where they found and fixed a bunch of critical issues.
Now, this kind of architecture doesn't just change the technology, it changes the entire economic model. This isn't just a product you buy. It's more like a two-sided marketplace, a real ecosystem, where both users and the people providing the bandwidth can win. So, for users, what does it cost? Just $3 a month. That's it. Super straightforward. And to put that into perspective, that's a whopping 77% cheaper than some of the big players like NordVPN. And the reason they can do that is pretty simple. They don't have to pay for a massive global network of servers. We, the community, provide that infrastructure. Okay, so what's in it for the community? What do providers get? Well, people just like you and me who decide to share some of their internet bandwidth can earn up to, get this, $1,456 a month. Pretty amazing, right?
The whole system is powered by the DVPN token, and the way they've distributed it really tells you everything you need to know about their priorities. A massive 42%, the single biggest chunk, is set aside specifically for the node rewards pool. It sends a clear message. The people who power the network are the most important part of the ecosystem.
And the token isn't just for providers. Users can get in on the action too. By staking, which is basically just holding some DVPN tokens in your wallet, you can unlock some serious discounts. You can start with a small stake for 10% off, but if you're a true believer and you stake enough, you can get the VPN service completely, 100% free.
But, this whole incentive system is about more than just saving or making money. It's the foundation for building a network that is truly owned, operated, and governed by the people who use it.
And they've laid out a really clear roadmap to get to full decentralization. It's a smart, phased approach. In the early years, the founding team holds on to the reins to make sure everything is stable. But over time, more and more power shifts to the community, until, in year 5 and beyond, it becomes a full-blown DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, where every stakeholder has a voice. It's the final piece of the puzzle, right? Removing trust not just from the tech, but from the governance too.
So when you put it all together and stack it up against the competition, the differences are just stark. Compared to a legacy giant like NordVPN, DVPN is actually decentralized and gives you a say in how it's run. And when you compare it to another decentralized project like Mysterium, well, DVPN actually has an iOS app, and the incentives for providers are just worlds apart. It's really carved out its own unique space. And all of this leaves us with a much bigger question to think about. I mean, DVPN is just one project, but it points to a much larger shift. Are we heading towards a new model for the internet, one that's built, operated, and actually owned by us, the users? The answer to that could completely redefine what we think of as privacy online.